ठाणे जिल्हा वकील संघटनेच्या वतीने आपल्या संघटनेचे प्रेसिडेंट श्री प्रशांत कदम सर यांना विनंती करतो की त्यांनी आजच्या कार्यक्रमाची सुरुवात करावी आणि आजचे वक्ते माजी रिटायर्ड जस्टिस श्री केतकर साहेब यांची ओळख करून द्यावी. थँक्यू सर. स्क्रीन इज युअर्स.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, friends. I welcome all to this 12th session of online lecture series organized by Thane District Court Bar Association. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome today's speaker, Honorable Justice Shri R.G. Ketkar sir, a former judge of Bombay High Court. He is delivering a lecture on the topic Powers of Municipal Corporation under various acts to initiate actions against the unauthorized construction and, more importantly, the defense available to the aggrieved party. Now, let's turn to my job, that is job assigned to me, giving introduction of Honorable Justice R.G. Ketkar sir. Friends, as we all aware that there are certain persons who need no introduction. The Ketkar sir is one of them. But since it is a part of program, I will give brief introductions, career details, and achievements of Ketkar sir. Sir was born on the 22nd August 1957. After completing law degree, he joined the chamber of Advocate A.V. Sawant, then Advocate General of Maharashtra. He practiced mainly on the appellate side of the Bombay High Court. He appeared for various municipal corporations. We know the famous case of Sopan Thopte versus TMC. The Ketkar sir has represented the Pune Municipal Corporation in that matter. He then elevated as a High Court judge on 26th March 2009. He has delivered various judgments of public concern. He was one of the justices in the matter which was decided the constitutional validity of RERA Act. He retired as a Bombay High Court judge in the year 2019. So we are honored to have such a personality today for our lecture series. I request Honorable Justice R.G. Ketkar sir to take the charge of the session. Please, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to all the viewers. I have to thank Mr. Suhas Oak, Advocate High Court, and Prashant Kadam, President of Thane District Court Bar Association, for giving me this opportunity to deliver lecture today. Friends, today's topic is powers of municipal corporation under various acts to initiate action against the unauthorized construction and defense available to the aggrieved party. In particular, I will be referring to the provisions of the Maharashtra Municipal Corporations Act, which was formerly known as Bombay Provincial Municipal Corporations Act 1949, and the provisions of the Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966, which I will hereafter refer to as the Town Planning Act. I will refer in particular, as far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned, it is governed by municipal laws, namely the Municipal Corporation, the Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act 1888, which is applicable to Brihan Mumbai area, the Maharashtra Municipal Corporations Act, formerly known as Bombay Provincial Municipal Corporations Act 1949, that is Corporations Act, which is applicable to all the corporations in the state of Maharashtra. And thirdly, the Maharashtra Municipal Councils, Nagar Panchayats and Industrial Townships Act 1965, which is applicable to the Municipal Councils, Nagar Panchayats and Industrial Townships. Insofar as the Town Planning Act is concerned, that is Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966, that is applicable throughout the state of Maharashtra. Today we will have to deal with the relevant provisions of the Corporation Act and the Town Planning Act, which deal with the unauthorized constructions. Broadly speaking, unauthorized construction can be classified in three categories, namely construction which are not in conformity with the applicable rules and regulations. Secondly, constructions which are not in conformity with the sanctioned building plans sanctioned by the planning authority. Thirdly, constructions which are made without any permission from the planning authority. Friends, unauthorized construction means work carried out contrary to the applicable rules and regulations. In other words, construction is not authorized by law. To understand the phrase work which is not authorized, let us refer to the relevant provisions of the Corporation Act and the Town Planning Act so as to understand the phrase unauthorized construction. Let me deal with positive aspect, namely authorized constructions. Provisions of the Corporation Act are applicable. I will refer to the relevant provisions of the Corporation Act. Chapter 1 of the Act is titled as preliminary. Section 2 is defining section. Various clauses of section 2 define the various expressions which are relevant for our discussion. Namely, number 1, clause 5 of section 2 defines the expression building. Clause 6 defines the expression bylaw. Clause 16b defines the expression designated officer. Clause 31 defines the expression licensed plumber, licensed surveyor, licensed architect, etc. Clause 55 defines the expression regulation, that is regulation made under section 465. Clause 58 defines the expression rules to include rules in Schedule D and rules made under sections 454 and 456 of the Act. Now we will turn to chapter Roman 15 of the Corporation Act. This chapter is titled as Building Regulations. Section 253 requires every person who intends to erect a building to give notice to the commissioner of his intention in the form prescribed by bylaws and containing such information as may be required to be furnished under the bylaws. Subsection 3 deals with the expression to erect a building in clauses A to small g. Section 254 lays down that notice has to be given to the commissioner of intention to make additions, etc. to the building. Section 255 lays down that if the commissioner declines to accept any plan, section, description, structure, drawings, or structural calculations, the commissioner has power to decline to accept such documents. Section 256 deals with effect of non-compliance with requisition made by the commissioner. Section 257 mandates that every person who intends to erect a new building or execute any work as is described in section 254 has to engage qualified agency under whose supervision the work is to be carried out. Section 258 empowers the commissioner to cancel permission on the ground of material misrepresentation by the applicant. Now, important section is section 260. It lays down that the commissioner shall designate an officer of the corporation to be the designated officer for the purposes of this section, and sections 261, 264, 267 and 478. Section 261 capital A lays down that if the erection of any building, now one has to appreciate erection of a building as defined in section 253(3), clauses A to G, or the execution of any such work as is listed in section 254 is commenced or carried out contrary to the provisions of the rules or bylaws, the designated officer, unless he deems fit to take proceedings in respect of such building or work under section 264, has to issue written notice requiring person who is erecting such building, etc., to show cause why such building or work should not be removed, altered, or pulled down. Clause B requires that the designated officer has to personally hear the concerned person or agent duly authorized by him in that behalf. Clause subsection 2 lays down that if such person fails to show sufficient cause, then the designated officer shall remove, alter, or pull down the building or work, and the expenses thereof shall be paid by the said person. Section 261 deals with building or works commenced contrary to act may be cut into and laid open for the purpose of inspection. Section 262 deals with enforcement of provisions concerning the building and works, and section 263 mandates issue of completion certificates and permission to occupy or use the building. These are the relevant provisions dealing with the building permission. Now, as far as this Corporation Act is concerned, there is a unique provision in the form of section 478, which you will not find either in Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act 1888 or the Maharashtra Municipal Councils, Nagar Panchayats and Industrial Townships Act 1965. That section 478 lays down that work or thing done without written permission of the designated officer shall be deemed to be unauthorized work. This section has been interpreted in various by the Bombay High Court in various judgments, including one judgment of Pune Municipal Corporation versus Nana Saheb Bhosle, reported in 1995, one Maharashtra Law Journal 427 by Justice Saldana. The judgment is also considered by the division bench of Honorable Mr. Justice M.B. Shah, the then Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, and Justice A.V. Sawant. In Supan Maruti Thurpe's case, they have considered this judgment. As I said, that this 478, section 478 is a unique provision which is not found either in Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act or the Maharashtra Municipal Councils in Nagar Panchayats and Industrial Townships Act 1965. Again, as far as the provisions in Schedule D are concerned, Chapter 11 deals with building regulations. We did not dwell upon these provisions for the time being because what sections 253 onwards laid down is almost in paramateria laid down in the Chapter 11 titled as Building Regulations. Now, as I said, the powers of the municipal corporation under the Corporation Act are found in sections 260, 264 and 478. Now, as far as the Maharashtra Regional Town Planning Act is concerned, section 51 empowers the planning authority that the building permission or the construction which is unauthorized to be demolished. But the caveat is, or the requirement of section 51 is that it is expedient, having regard to the development plan prepared or under preparation, that any permission to develop land granted or deemed to be granted under the Town Planning Act or any other law should be revoked or modified. So basic requirement before invoking section 51 is that the planning authority has to be satisfied that it is expedient to revoke or modify the building permission granted or the permission which is deemed to have been granted because of the failure on the part of the planning authority in communicating its decision once the building plans are submitted by the applicant. Section 51 has been interpreted by various rulings of the Bombay High Court and also by the Apex Court. In AR 1987 Bombay, Division Bench of Justice Dharmadhikari and Justice Shukla also considered the validity, constitutional validity of Section 51 of the Town Planning Act and held that section is not ultra virus and the Division Bench has also dealt with the aspect of expedient as requirement of the planning authority before it invokes Section 51. Now, as far as the defenses available to the person served with the notice is concerned, the person can validly submit that the notice is issued by the officer who is not designated officer under Section 216B of the Corporation Act. He can also submit that he is not the owner of the property in respect of which notice is given. The person also can take a defense that the description of the property is not correct. If the notice is issued under Section 51, he can take defense that it is not expedient to revoke or modify the building permission. He can contend that the construction is progressed to such an extent that it will be not expedient to take action against the construction. He can also take defense of obtaining deemed permission because of the failure on the part of the planning authority in taking action on the plan submitted by the applicant. He can also submit that the permission is obtained and submit the building plans for the perusal of the corporation or the designated officer for recalling the show-cause notice issued under Section 260 of the Act. And if the notice is issued under the Town Planning Act under Section 53, he can submit proposal for regularization of the concession made by him. Now, it is important to bear in mind that in case he submits proposal for regularization under Section 53, implicitly he admits that the concession he has made is unauthorized, and therefore he is submitting proposal for regularization. So one has to take care while submitting the proposal for regularization, because the person is indirectly admitting that the concession made by him is unauthorized. Now, in the case, various cases have been decided by Justice Oak in first appeals, where he has dealt with the defenses that are available to the person who is served with the show-cause notice. Now, the question also arose before the Bombay High Court as to whether notices issued either under Section 260 of the Maharashtra Municipal Corporations Act or Section 351 of the Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act can be challenged by instituting suits in the competent civil court. The division bench presided over by Justice S.C. Dharmadhikari held that suits can be filed in this competent civil court provided the plaintiff makes out the case that the action or the notice issued by the corporation is without jurisdiction. The division bench has held that the plaintiff in such suits have very limited grounds for challenging the notices issued by the planning authority. In other words, the plaintiff has to file, the person who is served with the notice has to institute writ petition in the High Court challenging the validity of the notice. And very limited scope is available to such person for approaching the civil court by way of civil suit. This is one more aspect which has to be kept in mind while challenging the notice issued by the planning authority. Now, under Section 22M of the Town Planning Act, development control rules can be framed. Just turn to Section 22M. Section 22 reads, a development plan shall generally indicate the manner in which the use of land in the area of planning authority shall be regulated and also include the manner in which the development of land therein shall be carried out. In particular, it shall provide so far as may be necessary for all or any of the following matters, that is to say, clause M, provisions for permission to be granted for controlling and regulating the use and development of land within the jurisdiction of a local authority, including imposition of conditions and restrictions in regard to the open space to be maintained about buildings, the percentage of building area for a plot, the location, number, size, height, number of stories and the character of buildings and density of population allowed in a specified area, the use and purposes to which buildings or specified areas of land may or may not be appropriated, the subdivision of plots, the discontinuance of objectionable users of land in any area in reasonable periods, parking space, loading and unloading space for any building and sizes of projections and advertisement signs and boardings and other matters as may be considered necessary for carrying out objects of the Act. In short, Section 22M permits framing of development control rules or regulations for carrying out development in the planning authority's area of jurisdiction. Now, under Section 22M, various municipal corporations have framed rules dealing with the procedure for obtaining building permission. You have to submit application in a prescribed form duly through licensed surveyor along with all the necessary building plans, etc. to the corporation. Section 44 of the Town Planning Act lays down that except as otherwise provided by rules made in this behalf, any person not being central or state government or local authority intending to carry out any development on any land has to make an application in writing to the planning authority for permission in such form and containing such particulars and accompanied by such documents as may be prescribed. So as may be prescribed is to be understood in the context of the rules or development control rules made under Section 22M of the Town Planning Act. Now, Section 45 deals with grant or refusal of permission, and it lays down that on receipt of an application under Section 44, the planning authority may, subject to the provisions of the Town Planning Act by order in writing, grant the permission unconditionally, grant the permission subject to such general or special conditions as it may impose with the previous approval of the state government, refuse the permission. Subsection 2 lays down that any permission granted under subsection 1 with or without condition shall be contained in a commencement certificate in the prescribed form. So once the permission is granted, the planning authority has to issue commencement certificate in the prescribed form. Then subsection 3 lays down that every order granting permission subject to conditions or refusing permission shall state the grounds for imposing such conditions or for such refusal. Subsection 2 lays down that every order under subsection 1 shall be communicated to the applicant in the manner prescribed by regulations. Now, subsection 5 of section 45 is important. If the planning authority does not communicate its decision whether to grant or refuse permission to the applicant within 60 days from the date of receipt of the application or within 60 days from the date of receipt of reply from the applicant in respect of any requisition made by the planning authority, whichever is later, such permission shall be deemed to have been granted subject to the applicant on the date immediately following the day of expiry of 60 days. So this is deemed permission contemplated by subsection 5 of section 45. Now, proviso is also very important, provided that the development proposals for which the permission was applied for is strictly in conformity with the requirements of all the relevant development control regulations framed under the Town Planning Act or bylaws or regulations framed in this behalf under any law for the timing in force, and the same way in no way violates either provisions of any draft or final plan, or the same in no way violates either the provisions of any draft or final plan or proposals published by means of notice submitted for sanction under the Act. The second provision is done that provided further that any development carried out in pursuance of such permission, which is in contravention of the provisions of the first provision, shall be deemed to be unauthorized development for the purposes of sections 52 to 57. So one has to consider while pleading the case of deemed permission that it satisfies these requirements laid down in the first provision to subsection 5 of section 45. In other words, even if the person claims that there is a failure on the part of the planning authority to communicate its decision as per subsection 5, still the concession that is made is strictly in conformity with the applicable rules and regulations of that planning area. Subsection in the second provision, in fact, lays down that if the concession is not in conformity with the provisions with the first provision, then it shall be deemed to be unauthorized. So the applicant has to be very careful when he pleads deemed permission and has to satisfy the authority or even the court, if the matter goes to the court, that the concession which he claims to be carried out on the basis of deemed permission is strictly within the four corners of the law. Otherwise, it will be deemed to be unauthorized construction. So these are the powers of the municipal corporation while dealing with unauthorized construction. As I said, I repeat, under section 260, section 264, and 478 of the Corporation Act, the municipal corporation has power to deal with the unauthorized construction work carried out by the person. Under section 15 of the Town Planning Act, the planning authority has also power to deal with the unauthorized construction if it is satisfied that the construction is carried out contrary to the rules and regulations, and it is expedient either to revoke the building permission or to modify the permission granted by it. Yes.
Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
Yes. Now, anything else you want to further? Anything else you want? Any query or whether you want further discussion on this point so that I can elaborate? Because these are the provisions of the Corporation Act and the Town Planning Act and the defenses that are available to the concerned party.
Sir, we are more interested to know the statutory requirement of the notices, basically, that on that ground we can challenge before the civil court. No?
See, under
yes.
section 216B, that is clause 16B of section 2 of the Corporation Act, the designated officer is appointed to deal with the unauthorized construction. We have seen that in section 260. Please turn to section 260 of the Corporation Act.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now please see section 260 into bracket capital 1A. If the erection of any building or the execution of any such work as is described in section 254 is commenced or carried out contrary to the provisions of the rules of bylaws, the designated officer. Now the expression designated officer is defined in clause 16B of section 2 of the Corporation Act. So the commissioner has to first appoint a designated officer as contemplated by section 2 clause 16B. Now, if the notice is issued by the person other than designated officer, the person who has received notice can validly say that the notice is bad because it is issued by a person other than designated officer. So this is the limited ground available challenging the notice on the ground that the person who has issued notice is incompetent to issue the notice.
ओके, थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू.
अजून कोणाला प्रश्न विचारायचे असेल तर या टॉपिक वरती सरांना विचारावे.
कमेंट बॉक्स मध्ये बघून घे ना संदीप जरा.
ओके सर, चेक कर.
2-3 क्वेरीज आल्या आहेत.
सर इथे दिसत नाही, प्लीज चेक करा.
एक आहे इफ कमिटी डिमांड. सर मी फक्त कमेंट बॉक्स मधली क्वेरी आपल्याला विचारतो सर.
येस येस
सर फेसबुक वरची इन्क्वायरी येते.
येस
नाही, मी याच्यावरती करतोय आपला.
हो सर.
What action to be taken if after no action is taken on receipt of notice under section 354 of MMC Act and ward officer not initiating prosecution under section 475A of MMC Act on failure to take action as per notice under section 354 of MMC Act.
Now just see, the corporation issues notice either under section 260 or 351 to the person alleging that he has carried out unauthorized construction. But experience shows that on many occasions, the corporation does not pursue further that notice by taking appropriate action against the unauthorized construction. After receipt of the reply, the corporation keeps silence. Now, in that situation, a person who has made complaint to the corporation about carrying out unauthorized construction can approach the High Court under Article 226 of the Constitution of India, alleging that despite corporation being satisfied about work was carried out unauthorizedly, still, after issuing show cause notice, the corporation has not taken further steps and therefore issue mandamus to the corporation to take appropriate action and take the notice issue to the logical conclusion. So this is the remedy available to the person if the corporation fails to take the notice to the logical conclusion and simply sits tight over the show cause notice.
सर अजून एक प्रश्न आहे की आता 52A जो म्हणजे कसा रीड करायचा याच्यावर जजमेंट येऊन गेल्यानंतर त्याला म्हणजे त्याच्याशी कनेक्टेड आहे. आता मग हाऊ टू रेग्युलराइज द अनऑथोराइज कन्स्ट्रक्शन असा एक प्रश्न आहे. मग कारण का आता 52A तसा म्हणजे रिडिफाईन किंवा कसा वाचावा असं जस्टिस ओक सरांचं जजमेंट आल्यानंतर 52A खाली बहुतेक कॉर्पोरेशन काही कोणती प्रपोजल एंटरटेन करत नाहीये. मग आता अनऑथोराइज कन्स्ट्रक्शन रेग्युलराइज करण्यासाठी कोणत्या प्रोव्हिजनचा आता म्हणजे हेल्प घ्यायची असा एक प्रश्न आहे.
Just see section 52A and section 53. Section 52 talks about penalty for unauthorized development for use otherwise than in conformity with the development plan. All right. Now please turn to section 53. Now power to require removal of unauthorized development where any development of land has been carried out as indicated in subsection 1 of section 52, the planning or routine made, etc., etc. Then please see subsection 3. Any person aggrieved by such notice may within the period specified in the notice and in the manner prescribed apply for punishment under section 44 for retention of the land of any building or works or for continuance of any use of the land to which the notice relates. And what follows is important. The pending the final determination or withdrawal of the application, the mere notice itself shall not affect the retention of buildings or works or continuation of such use. So the moment the proposal is submitted as per section 44 for retention of the work carried out, then the corporation cannot proceed with the demolition of the alleged unauthorized construction. So even if section 52 is there, the person who has to file a proposal for regulation can invoke subsection 3 of section 53.
ओके, थँक्यू सर. सर अजून एक आहे की इन व्यू ऑफ सेक्शन 433A ऑफ MMC ऍक्ट आपण सिव्हिल कोर्टात दावा दाखल करू शकतो का?
Yes, 433A.
येस सर.
Yes.
म्हणजे तो सेक्शन असतानाही एखादी नोटीस आपण सिव्हिल कोर्टात चॅलेंज करू शकतो का?
As I said earlier, now please read section 433A. Save as otherwise provided in this act, any notice issued, order, pass or direction issued by the decisional officer under section 260, 261, 264, shall not be questioned in any suit or other legal proceedings. Though this bars the jurisdiction of the civil court to entertain the suit, still you can always file a suit on the limited ground indicated by Justice Dharmadhikari, Division Bench presided by Justice Dharmadhikari, as also by Justice O in various first appeals. The judgment delivered by Justice Oak is not reported judgment, it is unreported. He has dealt with several first appeals where it is held that on limited grounds, the suit can be filed, notwithstanding the section 433A. Suppose the notice is issued by a person who is not authorized, who is not a designated officer. That notice is non-est or void ab initio. And in such situation, a person can maintain suit. So there is no absolute bar. Even if section 433A is there is absolutely no bar for filing suit on limited grounds spelled out in the division bench judgment of Justice Dharmadhikari and Justice Aveo.
Okay.
Sunil Bhatia sir.
Hello.
Sir, बोला.
Sir, I have a query. As you said, if the person issuing the notice is not the designated officer and he issues the notice, that notice can be now challenged on limited ground before the civil court.
Yes.
So whether in such suit, the burden of proof will lie upon the plaintiff, or the mere pleadings are enough that the person issuing notice is not the designated officer, and then the burden will be upon the defendant corporation to prove that he was the designated officer.
Once the plaintiff alleges that the super notice is issued by the officer other than designated officer, then the corporation has to establish that the notice is issued by the designated officer by producing the delegation power. Justice section 216B of the Corporation Act.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Justice section 216B.
Yes, sir.
Means any officer designated under subsection 1 of section 260. Now section 260 authorizes appointment of designated officer. Just see that 260. The commissioner shall have notification in the official gazette. You follow subsection 1 of section 260. So what is required is the commissioner has to issue notification in the official gazette designating a designated officer. So you can contain in your suit that the notice is issued by a person who is not designated as per subsection 1 of section 260. Then the burden is on the corporation to prove that they have complied with requirements laid down in subsection 1 of section 216, namely the commissioner has, by issuing official notification in the official gazette, has designated the person as designated officer who has issued notice. The burden is on the corporation in that case.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, अजून एक query आहे की rights of the tenants in case the corporation took the actions against the structure at the instance of landlord. What will the fate of the rights of the tenants?
Tenant is not without any remedy. Depending upon the scope of the suit, as I have indicated as it is indicated by the division bench, then he has to approach the civil court, making out grounds available indicated in those judgments. And if he is not in a position to make out the limited grounds for filing suit, certainly he can approach the High Court under 226, alleging that the notice issued by the corporation is in collusion with the landlord, and the intention of the landlord is to evict the tenant. So he has remedy in the form of civil suit, albeit on the limited grounds, or by way of writ in High Court under 226.
Okay. Thank you, sir. संदीप, काय तुझ्या इथे काय क्वेरीज आहेत?
नाही.
कोणाला विचारायचं तर विचारू.
नाही. Anyone want to ask question, please raise your hand. कुणाला काही प्रश्न विचारायचे असेल तर त्यांनी स्क्रीनवरती आपला हाताचं चिन्ह आहे त्याच्यावरती क्लिक करावं.
हॅलो
बोला.
सर, ऍडव्होकेट दीपाली हियर.
Yes.
सर, मला एक क्वेरी आहे की म्हणजे जे मध्ये परेल मध्ये झालं होतं की एकाच ठिकाणी 3 हॉटेल्स होते. देर वॉज अन एन्क्रोचमेंट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी अँड देन द मॅटर व्हॉट हॅपन ऍट द एंड वी डोंट नो. पण एक अशीच मॅटर आहे की ज्याच्यामध्ये कॉर्पोरेशन इज नॉट टेकिंग एनी ऍक्शन And when we are writing number of letters, they are saying that it is running since 14 years. And what are you doing now? Why you are coming so late? So in such situation 226 ची जी आपण टाकली रिट पिटिशन बॉम्बे हायकोर्ट मध्ये, पण then there is 2 times I have moved for urgency in the matter, but the judges said ki no, the hotel is running since last 14 years and you are coming before the court now for the direction, no urgency. In such situation, what to do, sir?
Now, really, this question can't be answered in the sense that if the judge or the judges are satisfied that there is no urgency, then they won't give circulation immediately. Because as you pointed out that you waited for 14 years.
Sir, I came to know, sir, in this case, I came to know in 2015 only. And from 15, I was chasing the departmental officer, municipal corporation, town planning, fire department, everyone, ki how the permission was granted. But since there is no say, I moved an writ petition before the High Court. Then High Court asked me only one question: when you notice this? I said 2015. But since it is running from so many years, so sir, in such situation, हा असा जो urgency नाही दिली तर should we wait for another parallel incident to happen?
No.
What is the recourse for this, sir?
No. Recourse is to persuade the judge to grant circulation as early as possible.
Okay. Sir, can you just give some any citation related to that if you're having, sir?
The circulation is really a discretionary order.
Yeah, that is true,
As you
sir.
know,
And this virtual hearing, though, it is at their mercy. We are whether urgency to be granted or not.
Unfortunate part because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, that is there.
The hearing is not taking place because of this pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay,
All are really at place.
So in this case, sir, I have to go before the High Court for mentioning the urgency and take the circulation.
But then
Shortly question, ma'am.
still,
Madam,
you-
short of
even at least I don't think you will get circulation because in extreme urgent cases only high courts are taking up the matters.
Okay, sir. Take.
Not only in Maharashtra but in other states also, as I understand that high courts are taking only urgent cases. For example, the planning authority has issued demolition notice or somebody is likely to be evicted. So if there is immediate or imminent threat, then only high court is taking up the matters.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
तर प्रश्न उत्तर शेवटी ठेवूया का?
हा, चालेल.
सर क्वेश्चन अँड आन्सर आपण शेवटच्या सेशनला घेऊया.
ठीक आहे. But then now, before I start further, I
Okay.
want to give homework to everyone.
Yes.
आपण मराठीत ज्याला म्हणतो ना बुद्धीला खाद्य किंवा what we call it as brain teaser to everyone. Now please turn to the provisions of the Municipal Corporation Act and in particular section 10(1)(d). Capital D, section 10(1)(d). It talks about disqualification of a councillor. Yes, a councillor shall be disqualified for being a councillor if such councillor has constructed or constructs by himself, his spouse, or his dependent any illegal or unauthorized structure violating the provisions of this Act or the Maharashtra Regional and Town Planning Act 1966 or the rules or bylaws framed under the said acts. And now please see what follows is important, or has directly or indirectly been responsible for or helped in capacity as such councillor in carrying out such illegal or unauthorized construction, or has by written communication or physically obstructed or tried to obstruct any competent authority from discharging its official duty in demolishing any illegal or unauthorized structure. Such disqualification shall be for the remainder term, etc. Now, this is the ground for disqualification of a councillor if he indirectly or directly is responsible or helping carrying out construction of unauthorized construction, or he prevents the competent authority from demolishing the unauthorized construction. Now, please turn to section 12. Questions as to disqualification to be determined by the judge. Subsection 1 says that if any doubt or dispute arises whether a councillor has ceased to hold office as such under section 11, such councillor or any other councillor may, and at the request of the corporation, the commissioner shall refer the question to the judge. Now, please note here, individual councillor can invoke section 12 and make reference to the judge. Judge is defined to mean judge of the small college court. But if the reference is to be made by the commissioner, then unless he is supported by the resolution of the general body, the commissioner cannot refer the question to the judge. Now, as you know, under section 36, commissioner is appointed by the state government. Now, commissioner usually is IS officer. So, a councillor alone can make reference, but the commissioner cannot make the reference alone unless he is supported by the resolution of the general body. Why this distinction is made? In my practice, or even as a judge, I did not come across a single instance where a councillor has made reference under section 12 to a judge alleging that so and so corporator has incurred in disqualification under section 10(1)(d) of the act. So whether it is necessary to amend section 12(1), doing away the requirement of resolution of the general body, which is the condition precedent for the commissioner in making reference, because experience shows that the councillor, they do not approach the judge under section 12(1) alleging unauthorized concession made by some other councillor, or that he has incurred disqualification under section 10(1)(d). Commissioner is a responsible officer. In fact, the entire executive power rests in the municipal commissioner, but still he alone cannot make reference under section 12 and has to make reference subject to the resolution of the general body. Now, you must generate opinion of the public that section 12 requires to be amended, because on one hand, you are saying that under section 10(1)(d), the councillor commits any act covered by section 10(1)(d), then he has incurred disqualification. But while giving remedy, that is not effective remedy unless section 12 is amended. So this is the home given. You generate the public opinion compelling the state government to amend section 12 so as to enable commissioner without the resolution of the general body of the corporation to make a reference. Because as I said, as a lawyer, I did not come across a single case where a councillor has made reference under section 12. Even as a judge, I did not come across single case. So this is one aspect under the Corporation Act. Now, as far as the other is concerned, that is under the Town Planning Act. Now, if you see the provisions of the Town Planning Act, it contemplates participation of public at various stages. Take, for example, Chapter 3 of the Town Planning Act, which is titled as Development Plan, commencing from section 21 onwards. Now, please see Chapter 3, Development Plan. Just see section 26. Preparation and publication of notice of draft development plan. Subject to provisions of section 21, a planning authority or the state officer shall, not later than 2 years from the date of notice published under section 23, prepare a draft development plan, publish a notice in the official gazette in such other manner as may be determined by stating that development plan has been prepared. The notice shall state the name of the place where a copy thereof shall be available for inspection by the public, and that copies thereof or extracts therefrom certified to be correct shall be available for sale to the public at reasonable time, and inviting objections and suggestions within a period of 60 days from the date of notice in the official gazette. So section 26 contemplates inviting objections, suggestions by the public when the draft development plan is published. Now section 28 talks about consideration of the objections and suggestions to the development plan. Now please turn to section 31(1). Sanction to draft development plan. Subject to provision of this section and not later than 1 year from the date of receipt of such plan from planning authority, or as the case may be, from the said officer, the state government may, after consulting director of town planning by notification in the official gazette, sanction the draft development plan submitted to it for the whole area or separately for any part thereof, either without modification or subject to such modifications as it may consider proper, or return the draft development plan to the planning authority, or as the case may be the state officer, for modifying the plan. Now, please see second proviso. Provided further that where the modification proposed to be made by the state government are of a substantial nature, the state government shall publish a notice in the official gazette and also in local newspapers inviting objections and suggestions from any person in respect of the proposed modification within a period of 60 days. So again here, public participation is contemplated. Now please see section 37. Where a modification of any part or any proposal made in the final development plan is of such a nature that it will not change the character of said development plan, the planning authority may, or when so directed by the state government, shall within 60 days from the date of such direction publish a notice in the official gazette and in such other manner as may be written by it, inviting objections and suggestions from any person with respect to the proposed modifications. Not so here also public participation is contemplated. They are given opportunity to submit objections and suggestions in writing. Now please see section 67, which is in respect of inviting objections, suggestions in respect of town planning scheme. So indicate that while preparing the development plan or even town planning scheme, public is entitled to submit objections and suggestions. Hearing is also sometimes contemplated, and the public participation is spelled out from these provisions. Now, this is one aspect of the matter. The development plan or town planning scheme is for the proper development, orderly development of the city falling in the area of the planning authority. Now, public have vital stakes in preparation of the development plan as also town planning scheme, because some reservations are contemplated either in the development plan or in the town planning scheme. Now take a case of purchase notice issued either under section 49 or 127, where there is no public participation at all. It may be that the owner or person having interest in the property which is under reservation may not be interested in availing the TDR, and he may be interested only in lifting up the reservation. But in such situation, either under section 49 or 127, public participation is not contemplated at all. What the person has to do or the owner has to do, he has to simply issue purchase notice to the planning authority, wait for some period. And if there is failure on the part of the state government in confirming the purchase notice under section 49, or there is failure on the part of the planning authority in taking steps as contemplated by section 126, then the reservation lapses. And who is going to suffer because of the lifting of reservation? It is the public in that locality, or the public of that planning authority is going to suffer, but no participation is contemplated. So the owner simply gives notice to the planning authority, and the planning authority keeps quiet, or the state government does not take any steps for confirming the purchase notice, etc. But if the public participation is contemplated, or if the public are allowed to participate even in case of a purchase notice, then in my opinion, it will not be possible for the owner to get the land, to get the reservation lifted, because the people of that area or the people residing in the public planning authority will give several suggestions. They can have their say because they are also stakeholders in maintaining the reservation. So these are the two suggestions you have to move the state government in respect of the public participation, both in section 49 notice or and section 127 notice. So you have to generate public opinion so that government will consider and may amend these sections requiring public's participation. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any queries, any doubts?
Sir, Advocate Penche here.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sir, as you said की पब्लिक पार्टिसिपेशनची गरज आहे आणि तुम्ही असंही म्हणताय की अमेंडमेंटची गरज आहे, तर बीपीएमसी ऍक्टला अमेंडमेंटची गरज आहे, कारण जो एक्झिक्युटिव्ह चीफ आहे तो रेमेडी लिस्ट ठेवलेला आहे.
Yes, yes.
आणि
Unless he supported the resolution of general body.
ते पॉलिटिकल रिझन साठी कधीच जनरल बॉडी सपोर्ट करणार नाही.
You are absolutely right. Even councillor also does not individually make reference.
हो, नाही, पण एखादा असू शकतो 1 लाखामध्ये जो करू शकतो.
And that's what I said in the beginning. I did not come across single instance while practicing as a lawyer or even as a judge. For more than 10 years, I was a judge, but I did not come across single case. You can tell me that there is some instance in the past.
No. So far as Thane Municipal Corporation is concerned, there is no instance.
I was appearing for Pune Municipal Corporation. I am aware of this difficulty.
Secondly, जे आपण सजेस्ट केलेलं आहे की टाउन प्लॅनिंग ऍक्ट मध्ये जी पाहिजे अमेंडमेंट, सर तुम्हीच आता एक्सप्लेन करताना सांगितलं की ज्यांचा स्टेक आहे पब्लिकचा, दे विल गो ऑन टू पुट सम सजेशन्स, सम मॉडिफिकेशन्स. म्हणजे जे टाउन प्लॅनिंग साठी जे बेसिक आहे की जर का टाउन प्लॅनिंगचं रिझर्वेशन युटिलाइज झालं नाही तर लँड विल गो बॅक टू द ओरिजिनल टायटल होल्डर. मग ह्याचा पब्लिक हिअरिंग जर का दिलं फॉर कन्फर्मेशन ऑफ रिझर्वेशन, तर साहेब ही 20 वर्षाचे जे टाइम लिमिट आहे, 10 वर्षाचं सॉरी, ते कधीच संपणार नाही. पब्लिक आज
What I'm saying, some the purchase notice is issued under section 49 or 27. Then the government should consider the suggestions, objections of the public. तुम्ही section 49 बघा किंवा 127 बघा, there is no public participation contemplated at all.
हो, पण ज्यावेळेला तो रिझर्वेशन लिफ्ट करून मला परत द्या लँड म्हणतो, मग त्यावेळेला बाय नेसेसरी इम्प्लिकेशन त्यावेळेला पण पब्लिक हिअरिंग लागू शकतं नंतर.
नाही, एकदा just see, that is not the contempt. That is not contemplated either in 49 or 127. Only requirement is that once the reservation is lifted, then the owner is entitled to develop the property as permissible in that zone. बघा तुम्ही ते.
ओके. हा.
मग रिझर्वेशन goes once for all purposes. Once for all.
अमेंडमेंट, मग जर का अमेंडमेंट पाहिजे असेल तर किती वेळामध्ये हा डिसिजन घेतला पाहिजे नोटीस दिल्यानंतर, त्याला स्ट्रिक्टली
तो पण दिलाय ना.
नाही, ते स्ट्रिक्टली इम्प्लिमेंट करण्यासाठी म्हणून पाहिजे. एकदा परचेस नोटीस दिली,
कसं आहे लक्षात घ्या, हे तुम्ही ऍट द थ्रेशोल्ड बघा. आय थिंक दिस 2004 सुप्रीम कोर्ट केसेस, त्याच्यात दी प्रॉपर्टी इन सॅलिसबरी पार्क एरिया पुणे वॉज रिझर्व्ड फॉर गार्डन. and the owners gave purchase notice to the corporation आणि नंतर मग litigation झालं and the high court said that you must use it for the purpose for which it is reserved. And matter was carried to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court Justice Gokhale sahab's judgment ahead. He said that the public are willing to raise the fund, and corporation came with the case that we don't have sufficient funds to acquire the land and put it for the use for which it is reserved in the development plan. But त्यांनी सांगितलं की people residing in that vicinity are willing to raise the funds to meet the cost of acquisition. म्हणजे मग त्या ह्याच्यात मग public participation आलं की
आलं. So by Supreme Court has contemplated it.
I said one of the instances. म्हणजे for example, if the purchase notice is issued either under section 49 or 127, people in that area can say that all right, planning authority is raising ground that it does not have sufficient funds, but we will raise the funds and subsequently corporation or the planning authority can refund that fund to us. But then acquired. This is one of the instances.
Correct. Therefore, you are right. Amendment is required of public hearing.
Court has no power to legislate, or court has no power to direct the state government to amend the section.
Correct.
So only public opinion will weigh with the government. You can build pressure on the government for suitably amending section 12 of the Corporation Act, likewise section 49 or 127 of the Town Planning Act.
Correct. Amendment is required.
But then court is powerless.
Certainly. Court cannot legislate.
Court cannot legislate, or it cannot even direct. It may give suggestion that you please consider amending relevant sections. But political will.
My query is over,
सर
sir.
नंतर घेऊया का आपण मग सर एंडला?
सर क्वेश्चन अँड आन्सर एंडला घेऊया ना, तर प्रोग्राम खूप लांब आहे सर.
नाही नाही, मग सांगा आणखी काय.
शेवटी घेऊया आपण सर क्वेश्चन अँड आन्सर.
ठीक आहे,
सर आपलं झालंय का म्हणजे लेक्चरचं काही राहिलं?
लेक्चरचं एक केलं आणि होमवर्क पण दिला सगळ्यांना, म्हटलं याच्यावरती
नाही सर, आपण संध्याकाळपर्यंत सुरू राहील मग.
यू पॉन्डर ओव्हर दिस
Yes.
सेक्शन
राईट सर, राईट सर. सर काही राहिलं असेल आपलं लेक्चर मधला भाग तर आपण पूर्ण करून मग आपण हे
मध्यंतरी म्हटलं सो दॅट क्वेरीज विल बी रेज, म्हणून मी त्या याच्यात होमवर्क तुम्हाला मुद्दाम सांगितलं, सो दॅट पीपल कॅन कन्सिडर रेजिंग देअर डाऊट्स, ग्रीव्हन्सेस, काही क्वेरी असतील किंवा काही
आल्या साहेब क्वेरीजच्या शेवटी आम्ही काय थोडेसे प्रश्न ते आपल्याला साहेब म्हणजे जे व्ह्युअर्सचे आहेत ना.
आय हॅव ऑलमोस्ट फिनिश्ड नाउ.
ओके सर.
पण देऊन बघा बिकॉज
घेऊ का मग सर? प्रश्न घेऊ एक.
चालेल.
सर एक प्रश्न घेऊ.
घ्या ना.
सदानंद मानेकर. ओके सर.
येस
सर नमस्कार सर.
हा, बोला.
माझा प्रश्न आहे सर की जे बीएमसी देतं इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल, तर सर ते व्हाय इट इज नॉट अप्रुव्हल, व्हाय इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल?
यू आर राईट, इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल. पण त्याचं कन्सेप्ट असं आहे की वन्स द बीएमसी इश्यूज इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल, इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल का अप्रुव्हल काय ते आयओडी म्हणतात बघा, डिसअप्रुव्हल, देन यू हॅव टू डील विथ दी ऑब्जेक्शन्स रेज्ड. त्याच्यात तुम्ही जे इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल बघा, त्याच्यात काही टीका केलेल्या असतात, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 असे असतात की यू आर नॉट डन दिस, यू आर नॉट डन दिस. सो in other words, these are the requisitions issued by the commissioner or the corporation so that you can remove that deficiencies and the corporation can proceed to consider your building plans. आता आपला सेक्शन हा बघा 255 का कुठला तो कॉर्पोरेशन ऍक्टचा, त्याच्यात स्टॅच्युटरी आहे तसं रिक्वायरमेंट की वन्स द, एक मिनिट, सेक्शन 253, 254 नंतर 255. Just in section 255 and 256. 255, the commissioner shall decline to accept any plan, section, description, structural drawings or structural calculations as sufficient for the purpose which are not drawn, given, prepared or signed in the manner prescribed in the bylaws. Then section 256, if any requisition made by the commissioner in accordance with the rules requiring the production of further particulars and details is not complied with, the notice given under section 253 or 254 shall be deemed to have not been given. बघा, म्हणून हे जे इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल असतं त्याच्यात तुम्हाला ते रिक्वेजिशन असतं. इन अदर वर्ड्स, म्हणजे आपल्या कॉर्पोरेशन ऍक्ट जो आहे, बीपीएमसी ऍक्ट, त्याच्यात ते रिक्वेजिशन, तर त्याला मुंबई म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशनला इंटिमेशन ऑफ डिसअप्रुव्हल म्हणतात.
पण सर मग जर आयओडी मध्ये आपल्याला ज्या कंडिशन्स दिलेल्या असतात की जर तुम्ही या कॉम्प्लाय केला नाही तर तुमची म्हणजे युअर requisition will be disapproved, पण त्याच्यानंतर सुद्धा सर even in spite of not complying with the conditions which are given, municipal corporation keeps on giving CC, further CC, and so why it is so, sir?
In fact, you are right. If the requisition is not complied with, the corporation cannot go on issuing further completion or permissions. They must first ensure that the requisition made by the corporation is complied with by the either architect or the owner of the property. You are right. Sometimes, or on many occasions, this happens. Now, for example, I have come across one case of Pune Municipal Corporation. There were some tenants in the property. So, corporation gave permission on condition, namely that before you proceed with the work, you will evict the tenants by agreement, compromise, or whatever it is. The landlord failed to arrive at compromise with the tenant. So he initiated eviction proceedings against the tenants, and it went on for quite some time. So the corporation changed the condition. Instead of saying that you first evict, they said that subject to the result of the suit, we are giving permission. So this is how sometimes corporation gives permission, because as you are aware that eviction proceedings take years together. So why in the meantime the owner who wants to develop the property should suffer, because that is also not in his hand. when the suit will be decreed, etc. And nobody can give guarantee that if the eviction suit is filed, he will succeed. And even if he succeeds ultimately in the Supreme Court, you know, on Order 21, again the obstruction proceedings they go on.
सर एक कमेंट बॉक्स मध्ये एक प्रश्न आलेला आहे, मी तेवढा विचारतो.
थँक्यू सर, थँक्यू सर.
सर ते भाटिया सरांचं आहे का?
नाही दुसरा आहे.
ओके ओके ओके.
In case the builder has construct structure in RG area and builder makes certain changes in the layout without consent of existing society in spite of society's objection, and thereafter corporation grants OC to other wings of the building, can the OC of the other wings and the revised permissions granted by the corporation can be challenged in writ?
I will put it this way. If the owner or the developer has carried out concession in RG, that is recreational
yes.
ground, recreational ground, then you must complain that instead of withholding the OC etc. of some other wings, you should ensure that the space which is earmarked for RG is utilized for the RG and for no other purpose.
बरोबर.
No.
Yes.
Because this will not serve your purpose. You may challenge his OC, but your main object is you to ensure that RG is utilized for the purpose of RG.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Sir, अजून एक query आहे.
Yes.
Can illegal use of a car parking space as enclosed garage for over 20 years be a case for serving notice by BMC, where also BMC has assessed the said garage for property tax? And is there any limitation period?
Yes, yes. The corporation can certainly take action against this unauthorized construction, and even if it is assessed, because mere assessment of the property will not convert unauthorized construction into authorized construction. I think there are several judgments on this point. Mere payment of taxes or assessment charges will not convert unauthorized work into authorized work.
Right. आणि limitation period विचारलंय sir.
Limitation, the person who has carried out unauthorized construction is bound to raise the defense that it is barred by limitation. But then court has to satisfy itself whether factually and actually the construction made by the person is in violation of the applicable rules and regulations.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
सर आमच्या संघटनेचे ज्येष्ठ वकील आहेत हरी भाटिया सर, त्यांना एक प्रश्न विचारायचा आहे. हा सर बोला. भाटिया सर बोला.
आवाज नाही
हा
येते,
सर बोला. हा बोला.
My question is, election of a nominated councillor can be challenged by a voter. That is what the Bombay High Court has recently said.
नाही, ऐकू येत नाही नीट.
नीट ऐकू नाही येते साहेब.
दोन मिनिट. हा बोला सर.
Sir, my question is whether section 12 reference can be made. Hello.
सर तुमच्या त्या स्क्रीनचा आवाज कमी करा. फेसबुकच्या स्क्रीनचा आवाज कमी करा.
नाही येते.
Can a voter make a Sir, my
सर्विस ऐकू येत नाही, कमेंट बॉक्स मध्ये टाकायला सांगा त्यांना सर.
सर हॅलो. सर कमेंट बॉक्स मधून वाचतो आम्ही. कमेंट बॉक्स मधून वाचतो. सर कदम सर फेसबुक वरती नोट्स मध्ये आहेत का?
हा एक आहे सर. एक असा प्रश्न आहे की जे मोबाईल टॉवर बांधून सोसायटी आपल्या टेरेस वरती बांधून त्याच्यातनं रेव्हेन्यू कमवतात, म्हणजे रेव्हेन्यू कलेक्ट करतात, जे हार्मफुल असतात, तर त्याला सोसायटीच्या अगेन्स्ट काही MMC ऍक्ट मध्ये रेमेडी आहे का या गोष्टी?
Now there are judgments dealing with the construction of the mobile towers. That is also, I understand, subject to further correction, that they are treated as a construction. So you have to obtain the permission of the corporation or the planning authority before erecting mobile tower, because as you rightly said that they are harmful they are emitting radiation, etc. So it is better. I mean, if the concession is made contrary to the provisions of law, then certainly you can complain against that concession of mobile tower also.
ओके सर. सर भाटिया सरांचा प्रश्न आलेला आहे.
हा.
कॅन अ वोटर चॅलेंज द अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर?
Other just see the provisions of relating to nominated member. Let us see the provision. Which is that provision of nominated member?
माझ्या ते साहेब 20 स्टँडिंग कमिटी 21 असावं सर.
अधिक नॉमिनेशन करता.
हा नॉमिनेटेड आहे.
हा.
बघायला पाहिजे.
हे बघा.
संदीप भाटिया सरांना विचार ना.
Section 5 talks of constitution of the corporation.
काय विचारू सर त्यांना?
सर तोपर्यंत ते सेक्शन बघेपर्यंत दुसरा विचारू का प्रश्न मी, म्हणजे बघून सांगतायत ते. सर अच्छा सरच बघतायत.
Yes. Section 5A reservation of seats. नंतर मग काय ते स्टँडिंग कमिटीचं जे तुम्ही म्हणताय ना, त्याच्यात जे नॉमिनेटेड, त्याच्यात ते तुमच्या कॉर्पोरेटर मधनच यू हॅव टू नॉमिनेट. पण ह्याच्या बाबतीत
साहेब त्याला माझ्या मते ना शेड्यूल मध्ये सेपरेट हे दिलेले आहे नॉमिनेशन, म्हणजे नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर साठी.
त्याच्यात शेड्यूल डी मध्ये बघूया. इलेक्शन रूल्स चॅप्टर 1.
Bolu,
हा बोला.
sir, my question is about section 12 reference. Can a voter make a reference to the court for disqualifying a councillor who has made unauthorized construction and the other relevant provisions? Not about the election being challenged, but that Bombay High Court has given the full bench judgment that it can be done. Justice Dharmadhikari's judgment is of last year. The question is restricted to section 12.
हा साहेब सेक्शन 12 वरती आहे सरांचा प्रश्न.
हा सर बोला.
हा बोला. आता हा ते रूल 9 आहे चॅप्टर 1. आता नॉमिनेटेड काउन्सिलरच्या बाबतीत आहे रूल 9 ऑफ चॅप्टर 1, शेड्यूल चॅप्टर 1. Provisions regarding nomination of candidates. Nominated members कुठलं नाही. This is not even deposit.
त्यांचा तो प्रश्न नाहीये म्हणून त्यांनी आता खुलासा केला सर.
Yes.
ओके. हा त्यांचा
काय क्वेरी?
सेक्शन 12.
सेक्शन 12 ची काय क्वेरी?
हो सेक्शन 12 खाली.
हा सेक्शन 12 ची काय क्वेरी?
भाटिया सर.
थोड़ी गैप आ गई कमेंट कर दिए ना.
सेक्शन 12.
भाटिया सर येतो आवाज तुमचा. हा बोला सर. भाटिया सर बोला.
त्यांचा तो प्रश्न नाहीये म्हणून त्यांनी आता खुलासा केला. कमेंट बॉक्स मध्ये भाटिया सरांचा प्रश्न म्हणून.
Hello.
हा भाटिया सर बोला.
बोला सर.
Sir, I'll clarify my question. Of course, nomination can be challenged. That is the full bench judgment of the Bombay High Court. Hello.
हा सर ऐकू येतोय.
सर येतोय बोला बोला.
माझा प्रश्न आहे to disqualify a councillor for unauthorized construction whether voter or a citizen can make reference under section 12 to the civil judge senior division.
Is the difficulty in section 12(1). Only three contingencies, namely the person or the councillor who has carried out unauthorized construction himself can make reference, or any other councillor or commissioner with the support of the general body resolution. So no voter has remedy under section 12. Just is section 12(1).
अच्छा तो जवाब करना है.
This is section 12(1).
ठीक आहे. सर अजून एक क्वेश्चन आहे, विचारू का?
Oh, please go ahead.
Sir, if land is acquired under Land Acquisition Act for one purpose and purpose is not solved or served, can government use said land for some other purpose, or owner has right to get back the land?
So long now acquisition is complete,
Yes.
the owner is divested of his title, and if the land is reserved for a public purpose and that purpose is served or it is no longer required for that public purpose, then the planning authority can use it for any other public purpose. So long as it is being used for a public purpose, nobody can question the planning authority decision to use it for a public purpose, A or B. That is not relevant.
Correct. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you,
Mr. Amir. Mr. Amir. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Amir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So
Continue.
I just had a query with your permission, if I may ask. So in terms of monsoon sheds, because of the rainy seasons, because of the water leakage and the water seepage, I had read somewhere, sir, as per DCR 2034, now you can also request for permanent permission for monsoon sheds. So would you be able to help on that, or is it only temporary monsoon sheds?
I don't know that relevant provision you are talking about, Rule 20 or something. It depends
DCR
upon
2034, sir.
but then that depends upon the language of that DC rule.
Okay, sir. But as of now,
Normally they are seasonal.
right.
In the monsoon, so obviously it's a temporary structure. But unless that DC rule permits permanent erection, one cannot. Unless one
Okay.
sees that rule.
Okay.
Any
Okay,
more
sir.
questions? Please raise your hand.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Amir. अजून कोणाचे प्रश्न असतील तर त्यांनी विचारावे. स्क्रीनवरती हाताचं लोगो आहे, तो प्रेस केला तर आम्हाला समजेल.
सर अजून एक प्रश्न आहे की कॉर्पोरेशन विरुद्धच्या हे जे म्हणजे तक्रारी आहेत ते लोक अदालत मध्ये मिटवता येतात का?
कुठल्या तक्रारी म्हणजे व्हॉट इज द नेचर ऑफ कंप्लेंट?
अनऑथराइजच्या बाबतीच्या.
Now how it is not compoundable. Just see the provision relating to compoundable. Now, for example, earlier octroi was compoundable offense. Now just see the provisions. How it can be compromised or compounded. So my answer is that if the unauthorized construction is carried out, it can't be compounded.
ओके सर. थँक्यू सर. संदीप.
हा बघतोय सर.
हा मग क्लोज म्हणजे
जे ते चेक करतो. मिस्टर राज. मिस्टर राज. Please on your mic.
Yes.
ओके, माझा माईक वर्किंग नाहीये.
Yes.
त्यांच्या चॅट मध्ये आहे का विचारतो.
हो, चॅट मध्ये आहे सर त्यांचं.
हा ते झाला त्यांचं सर. त्यांचा
Now, just
प्रश्न.
see section 481(1)
हा. हा सर.
clause B. Compounding च्या बाबतीतला section 481(1)(b). The commissioner may compound any offense against this act or any rule, regulation or bylaw under which the law for the time in force may legally be compounded. So whether it can be legally compounded. If the question is relating to unauthorized construction, it can't be compounded. Therefore, there is a provision either for regularization or for taking action under section 260 or 478 or section 51.
Okay.
Yes.
सर एक प्रश्न विचारू, अजून एक आलेला आहे स्क्रीनवरती आहे. चंद्रकांत चव्हाण यांनी विचारलाय,
Yes.
इफ स्ट्रक्चर इज टॉलरेबल इट कॅन बी रेग्युलराइज.
Now, see, tolerable is that concept is in Mumbai Municipal Corporation. For example, in the sort of commercial area and in the sort of residential area, certain circulars have been issued by the corporation treating them as concession which are tolerated. That is called datum line in the spirit of commercial. So once it is tolerable concession, where is the question of applying for regularization?
ओके.
You follow? If it is concession which is tolerated because of the datum line concept in the spirit of commercial area and residential area in Mumbai Municipal Corporation, there is no question of applying for regularization. Yes.
ठीक है सर, क्लोज कर.
ओके. ओके. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन प्लीज. Any question, please raise your hand. Yes, Mr. Pandurang. Yes, Mr. Gunjal sir. Please on your mic. Gunjal sir, please on your mic.
संदीप ठीक आहे, होत नसेल त्यांचं.
पेंडसे सर परत प्रश्न आहे का?
हो.
हा पेंडसे सर प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
सेक्शन 478 खालती ज्यावेळेला अनऑथोराइज किंवा इलिगल स्ट्रक्चर वरती हिअरिंग होतो, त्यावेळेला जी व्यक्ती ती कंप्लेंट करते की हे इलिगल किंवा अनऑथोराइज आहे, डज ही हॅव अ राईट टू बी हर्ड?
The hearing is contemplated, then affected party has to be heard.
हा, ज्याने कंप्लेंट केलेली आहे तो
प्लस ज्याच्या अगेन्स्ट आहे तो देखील.
हा, ज्याच्या अगेन्स्ट आहे त्याचं हिअरिंग असतंच, पण ज्याने कंप्लेंट केलेली आहे जो सोसायटी आहे.
He is also, because the notice is issued on the basis of the complaint made by the concerned person.
कारण समजा एक रेसिडेन्शियल कम कमर्शियल बिल्डिंग आहे आणि कमर्शियल खालती एक गाळा आहे, त्यांनी अनऑथोराइज कन्स्ट्रक्शन केलं आणि सोसायटीच्या एका रेसिडेंटने किंवा मेंबरने कंप्लेंट केली. while taking a hearing under 478, तो जो complainant आहे, does he have a right to be heard?
Yes, yes, because the action is initiated based on the complaint made by that person. So he is affected because he is also complaining about unauthorized concession. So he can't be excluded from the hearing. He can't be excluded.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Gunjal.
नमस्ते.
Yes, sir. Yes, continue, sir.
अनऑथराइज कन्स्ट्रक्शन या संदर्भामध्ये माझा प्रश्न आहे.
बोला सर.
कॉर्पोरेशनने प्लॅन सँक्शन केलेला आहे, कॉर्पोरेशनने कॉमेन्समेंट सर्टिफिकेट दिलेलं आहे, परंतु कॉर्पोरेशनने प्लिन चेकिंग साठी आलेले नाहीत, त्यावर आम्ही कन्स्ट्रक्शन केलं, तर काय आमचं हे कन्स्ट्रक्शन इलिगल असेल काय?
आता असं बघा की there are stages of construction. Once you obtain commencement certificate, after that you have to intimate in writing that you are commencing the construction. Correct? Now you reach up to plinth level. Again, you have to communicate, or your license surveyor has to communicate to the concerned building engineer of that area that you have completed construction up to plinth level. Please come check and certify that the construction made up to plinth level is in accordance with the sanctioned plan. And it is the mandatory duty of the corporation to send the concerned officer to verify whether you have made construction up to plinth level as per the sanctioned plan, and thereafter he gives permission to proceed further.
Okay.
There is, as you say that this, I don't know whether in your case you have intimated to the corporation about completing construction up to plinth level and requesting their engineer to visit the site.
Yes,
Or certificate. Because after receipt of the plinth checking certificate, you can proceed further for construction.
हो कॉर्पोरेशनला आम्ही सांगितलं होतं पण त्यांचा मनुष्य
लेखी सांगितलं होतं का लेखी?
हो आमच्या आर्किटेक्चरने
नाही म्हणजे you must intimate in writing about
Okay.
completion of construction up to plinth level and request the corporation to issue plinth checking certificate.
ओके सर
And then you can proceed further.
ओके थँक्यू थँक्यू
थँक्यू सर. सर आपण आता संपवूया कार्यक्रम. आपण म्हणजे सांगलं आम्ही सेक्रेटरी संजय म्हात्रेंना विनंती करतो की वोट ऑफ थँक्स संघटनेच्या वतीने द्यावं.
Honorable Lordship Sri Ketkar Sahib, President Sri Prashant Kadam, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to have been to propose vote of thanks. I, Advocate Sanjay Mhatre, Secretary of Thane District Courts Bar Association, on behalf of the Bar Association and the entire supporting team of our managing committee and the fraternity of the advocates here together, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the Speaker, Honorable Lordship Ketkar Sahib, for sharing with us on the powers of the corporation and the defense on unauthorized construction, which is not only valuable for practicing advocates, but also explain in a very simple language the queries raised by the advocates today. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
थँक्यू सर.
Thank you.
Thanks.